So welcome everybody. I am glad that you came here today. We're talking about one of the two topics, one of the two themes that we are talking about quite a bit this year. Because Stonehill believes, and I believe that many other people believe, many other FMOs and other observers of the industry believe that we're going to see dramatic changes, especially, and they're going to hit this year. And two of those changes are a greater, stronger relationship with group production of healthcare than we've had in the past. And the other one is AI. Today, we're going to be talking about group healthcare. And can I say, if you guys would like to give me a call and talk to me about how you can take and implement these ideas, I'd love you to do that. You can see here that I think that group health and Medicare are slowly merging into a single service. This is because people are going to work until they're 70, 72. Who knows how long they're going to be working. So that's why these things are merging. Today we have, excuse me, today we have one of our group experts from Stonehill who is going to be talking to us today about these things. And I'm hoping that you see opportunities. And if you do not, please talk with me. I'll be sticking around after this. Or you can always email me. You can give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. And I think that the people who take this into account are going to be able to compete with the guys in our current market who are already excelling doing this. And they're going to be able to become more competitive down the road. So our Stonehill group expert here is Amy Roberts. And if you do have questions about group and I don't know how to answer, Amy's the person that I go to. Amy or Dave is the person that I go to. She'll talk a little bit about Dave as well. And it's really good to have her here. Amy, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and take it away?
Sure. My name's Amy. I've been with Stonehill now for just over 10 years. I started off doing commissions, so some of you may know me from there, but then I moved into ancillary coverage, and now I do both group and ancillary for our small and large group market. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have, as we're going through the slides or at the end. Just let me know as we go through. Some things to know about the group market. Everybody's big topic right now is inflation and trying to keep up with the rising demand of trying to find a balance between what you can afford to pay your employees and the rising costs of everything. So I found this information and I thought this was compelling to share that in 2023, the wages and salaries increased on average 4.7% for the year. This year, they're projecting for 2024 that employers would need to adjust for their cost of living at 8.7%. So if you're giving somebody an annual increase of about $10,000, you would have to adjust that to $10,870 to match the inflation curve. That's a huge thing for employers, especially here, because 90%, I think, roughly, of employers in Utah are like mom and pop shops. They're very small. They can't really compete with those types of wages. So how we combat that to keep everybody competitive and to be enticing to draw employees to them and retain them is to add more benefits. And so I would just kind of wanted to bring this in so you could see where the need is this year. What products can you offer to a group? I get this question all the time. Most people think it's just medical, dental, vision, maybe a group life policy. There is so much more out there. And we're going to touch a little bit on each one of these today. But if you have deeper questions after this, I'm happy to help with those. So we have the four main, the medical, dental, vision, group life. We also offer voluntary life, short and long-term disability plans, an accident plan, critical illness, hospital indemnity, We can always bundle in an FSA, an HSA, an EAP, ID theft, legal shield, and pet insurance. And I'm sure Medicare is the same, but group has a million acronyms for things. So we'll kind of go through the basics of those terms before we get started, just to kind of keep you in the know. So I did put these in, and I'll send this out to everybody afterwards. Age banded. Age banded rates just mean that. So each plan has an age rate. So if you're between the ages of, let's say, 20 and 22, your cost might be, $100 a month. But if you're 35 or 36, your cost might be $150 a month. Those rates aren't accurate. They're a lot more than that. But just to give you an example, that each age, your rate changes dependent. And that rate changes not on your birthday, but when the policy renews. So if you were 34 when your policy started in January and you turn 35 in February, you keep your 34 age rate until the next open enrollment. Alternate funded plans. I'm sure you guys hear a lot about alternate funded. These types of plans, they're medically underwritten, and groups potentially can earn money back, not the first year, but the second if they're running really well. A census. We're going to go through a census example in a minute, but a census is what we require in order to get accurate information about your group for rates. So we need things like the group's address, their tax ID number, their SIC, which is their nature of business, whether they're HVAC people or maybe you want to insure yourself, insurance brokers. We just need to know that because it all goes into how those quotes are run. EAP, a lot of people will hear about that. It's your Employee Assistance Program. It's a completely voluntary program. It's huge with a lot of groups. There are EAP programs that are bundled into your medical insurance, but there are also carriers that provide it, and it's a program where your employees can call. They have a number of phone calls that they can make in and talk to a therapist or talk to some sort of counselor to help with anything that they're going through, right? Financial problems, personal problems, addiction problems. And if they can't help them, they put them in touch with a service that will help them. So it's a fantastic service for employees. Level funded plan is a lot like an alternate funded plan. They are usually for larger groups. They have a lot of flexibility. You can add and change things that are important to the group. So maybe they really want a better chiropractic benefit. They generally have lower out-of-pocket max options. So they're a little more flexible than your standard ACA, Select Health, Regions, UHC type of plan. PEPM is per employee per month. That's generally how we charge for our Employee Navigator, which we'll get to in a little bit. And RBP networks is reference-based pricing. That's a huge one this year. You're going to hear it a lot in the market. It just means that there is no network. The carrier negotiates with your provider, and they reimburse the provider based off of the Medicare reimbursement rates. So they take care of all of that on the back end. You guys don't, none of your employees are going to feel that hiccup. It's something that's done by the carrier, but it helps keep costs down. And they can go anywhere they want, so they're not restricted to a network. Any questions on vocabulary before we hop into the next section?
Nothing in the comments.
Okay. So what type of medical plans are there? There's a lot. So for small employer, there are groups of 2 to 50 full-time eligible employees. In Utah, to be considered full-time, it's 32 hours a week is what your employees have to work to be full-time. These plans are ACA-compliant. In Utah, we offer them with Select Health, Regions, and United Healthcare. Stonehill is not bound to only sell in the state of Utah. We can sell in every state. So if you have a group, please send it over and we can talk about what works best for your particular group in those areas. These are age-banded rates. They do not require medical underwritten. They're guaranteed issue. So that's very nice. You don't have to worry about any health statements with those. We do offer also some level funded plans. Some of the carriers require a minimum of down to 5 full-time employees. That's huge this year. It used to be 10, so now we can offer this down to 5. These are medically underwritten plans. They do require health statements to get firm rates. They're customizable. So if you get a plan back and you're like, I really would like to see something added or something different, we can send that back to the carrier and ask them if that's something they can do. We can also negotiate a little bit. So if we say, we got a quote back from XYZ carrier and we really like your plan, but they offer something different, we can negotiate a little bit. So that's different than those ACA standard plans. Most of these plans have reference-based pricing networks available so that no matter where they are, they can see whatever doctor they want to see, which is huge. And they can potentially earn money back for the employer after the second year if they run well. They can't the first year because doctors have an entire year to file claims. So by the second year, then the underwriters will know how well the group is running. So you can potentially earn money back. And I think there was a question in the comments, Doug?
There was. Good observation. So Craig Pendleton asked, how much flexibility is there with full-time requirements? Can the number of hours be changed depending on the employer's needs?
No.
That was concise.
Sorry, just no. 32 hours is the standard. When you start getting into really large employers like 100 plus, if you want to go on a fully self-funded plan and you want to offer down to like 20 hours, or your part-time folks, there are options to do that. But in the range that we deal with the most often, which is 2 to 100, they do have to work 32 hours.
So in Utah, it must be 32 or more, question mark.
Yes, 32 or more hours per week is the minimum. Okay. So now that we've talked about small employer a little bit, now we have large employer options. Large employer is a different kind of beast. They do not have your standard ACA rates like you do with small employer. These ones, you have to have 51 or more full-time eligible employees. They are medically underwritten every time. A lot of the carriers require health statements in order to issue firm rates. We do work with a couple carriers now that are using either an AI technology or GRX to quote, especially if the group has had insurance before. But if they have not had insurance before, we are still required to get health statements. And I'll show you what one of those looks like in a little bit. These
What's
plans,
GRX?
again, GRX, it's where they run your pharmacy prescriptions. So anything that has been filled at a pharmacy is part of your GRX, so the carriers can pull that. And then they can rate based off of the assumption of the medication used. These plans are customizable. They also have reference-based pricing networks available. But you don't have to use those. You can use different networks. We have the Cigna network is a really big network. Allstate uses those. So we have lots of options on a national network. You do have potential to earn money back on the second year if they run well, same as the alternate funded plans. And if the group has current coverage for quoting, we need claims data, usually 3 years worth if we can get it, their current invoice, and renewals. So that way they can really dig in and try to be competitive pricing. All of that's going to be included in the census. And after this meeting, I'll send you a how-to guide plus the slides and our quoting census. So you'll have all of that information. What are minimum requirements? We get this question a lot. Doesn't matter if it's a small employer or a large employer. The general rule of thumb is that we need 75% participation after valid waivers. Some carriers are more flexible on that, but that's just your general rule. That's what we want to try to hit every time. So, and then what is a valid waiver? A valid waiver, somebody could waive because they're on their spouse's plan, or maybe they are under 26 and they're on their parents' plan. That's a valid waiver. If they're on Medicare, again, valid waiver. And if they're on an individual health plan, it's a valid waiver. Things that are not valid waivers are any of those medical share type of policies. Those are not considered valid coverage. Local ACA plans. You do have to have a minimum of 50% of the eligible employees residing in the state of Utah or in that networks or in that carrier surrounding where they cover. So like for instance, Select Health has Idaho, Utah, and parts of Nevada. So if your group's in any of those service areas, that's okay. It counts as that 50% residing in their service area. I just used Utah to make that a little easier to understand because each group has kind of different areas that they cover. The other 50% can reside outside of the state. The only caveat to that is that those employees that reside outside of the state would have to be enrolled on that carrier's national network. So, for example, if you wanted to use Select Health, they would have to, your out-of-state employees would have to enroll on the Med network. They would not be eligible to enroll in the Value network because the Value is only in Utah. If your group enrolls with UHC, UHC is very flexible. They don't have to abide by the 50% in Utah rule. If your group, for example, is headquartered in Utah, but they have 6 employees that live outside of the state and 3 employees that live inside, UHC will quote that group based out of Florida. So they will have Florida rates, Florida plans. That's how UHC works for those. And then, of course, when you provide us that census, myself or Dave, we will run these scenarios for you based off the census. So we'll look at how many residents are in and out of the state and pick the plans that are best for you. Yes, Jean.
So I was just trying to think, if you've got your coverage areas, I'm sorry, I lost track of my thought. I'll ask you again in a minute.
Okay. Is there any questions on minimum requirements while we're on the screen?
Nothing written.
Okay. This is our required census. So you can download this off of our stonehillbrokerage.com website. If you haven't been there, it's full of great information. All of our contact information is there, frequently asked questions, and the census is there to download, or you can always email me and I'll send you a copy. This is just a snippet of what it looks like. It does give you on each tab a checklist. You can see it up here in the corner of what we need for those types of quotes. This snippet from my census is just for the under 50 small employer groups, but we do have another tab here for those alternate funded or large employer groups. Yes, Jean.
Yeah, so it had to do with guaranteed issue. Are all of these plans guaranteed issue but require underwriting to assess the health of the group? Is that what you were saying earlier on the slide?
No, so the guaranteed issue is for your small employer plans that are written through Select Health, Regents, and UHC in our area. The ones that have to have health statements are not guaranteed issue. Those are medically underwritten. The underwriters can decline to quote based off of health. They can decline if they're not competitive with their current carrier pricing. So they can decline if they see that there's a need.
So the larger groups can be declined if their group is unhealthy, but under 50, you can expect a guarantee issue, but maybe there's a rate up or something?
No, on the small employer, the Select Health, the Regents, and the UHC age-banded plans, those are guaranteed issue. There's no rate up. There's no health statements. But if you want
Okay.
to look at like an alternate funded plan, like a Cigna or an Allstate or a Motive, any of those are medically underwritten, and they can be declined based off of health.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. So once you receive the census, things that we require will be like their name, their relationship, whether they're employee, spouse, or dependent, their date of birth, gender, the state they live, their zip code. If you want to do underwritten quotes, it's nice to have the full social for pulling that GRX data, but if you don't have it, that's okay. But we will ask for all of this information to be completed. So it'll have asterisks next to everything that we need, including all of the company information here at the top. And we do also ask for contribution, which I know not everybody does, but we do have to have the contributions that the group is going to have. So if the employer is going to pay 50% of the employee, or maybe they're going to pay 50% of the employee and 50% of the dependents, we just need to know that going in. Yes, Craig.
Which companies use the GRX for their underwriting?
Right now, Cigna uses GRX. Motive uses an AI technology, but they do ask for health statements if somebody has not had insurance previously.
Okay.
Allstate uses an algorithm also, but anything under 20, they're going to ask for health statements. Aetna will always require a health statement. So
Okay,
it just depends on the carrier. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amy.
Yeah.
Just curious. A minute ago, you mentioned that you're asking about gender. In Medicare, they make a distinction between sex and gender. Is there a distinction in under 65?
There is not.
Okay, thanks.
I should reiterate, if your group is in California, you can put the gender as you if you want to. So you can do male, female, and you. But those are the only three that we can use at the moment.
Okay.
This is a generic health statement. Most carriers will require this one. It has to include the group's name, the employee's information, their spouse and dependents. We do have to have this completed in full. It will also ask things down here, like at the bottom, where it says when they were diagnosed, what the prognosis is, and what their monthly expense is for prescriptions. So it'll want to know any types of diseases or illness that they're being treated for currently. We have this in paper form. We also have a encrypted link that can be made specifically for the group. So if you tell me the group's name, I'll make you a specific link. You send it out to all of the employees. So as the agent, you would do that. You or the HR person would send the link to all the employees. They'll fill out their health statement online. It comes back to me completely encrypted. Nobody else sees it but me and the underwriters. And I don't read them. I just bundle them all up and pass them through. So everything stays secure and encrypted.
Amy, do all of these carriers, pardon me, using level and self-funded accept this questionnaire?
Everyone but Aetna. If Aetna is in the mix, if you request them, then it has to be the Aetna form, and everyone else will accept it.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so that's everything I have today for the medical coverage. I do have our ancillary coverage section next. Employers can offer a wide variety of coverages. They can do this either contributory or voluntary, which means they can either contribute to part of the premium or they can offer it 100% voluntary. If they offer this 100% voluntary, it does have to be payroll deducted, and there are group applications. So it works just the same way as being contributory, except the employer doesn't have to pay anything. And what makes this different is this will help them set out or stand out in the current market to potential employees. So even if they're not paying, it's offered. And people really just like to be offered a lot of things. We work with multiple carriers. A lot of our ancillary products can be offered with as little as 2 enrolled employees. Just depends on the carrier. And so when you send over that census, we'll go through and look at that and see what carriers best fit and send those out for quoting. Ancillary quotes do take 5 to 7 business days to get back, but we will spreadsheet it all and send it to you in one nice comparison package. The most commonly offered ancillary lines by employers are dental, vision, group life, and employer-paid long and short-term disability. This is usually the standard. Everybody kind of knows what these are as far as employers go. Dental, of course, is dental coverage if you need to go to the dentist. The standard plan is usually 100% preventative, 80% of basic, 50% of major services with a $1,000 annual max. We can quote different coverages. We can quote higher annual maxes. It just depends on the size of the group. I'm sure you all are pretty familiar with vision insurance. It's about the same as on Medicare plans. Employer-paid group life. So employer-paid group life is a guaranteed issue. They can get that up to $50,000 of guaranteed issue group life with no health statements. And then if they want to bundle in like a voluntary life, they can do that for the employees to buy up. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then employer paid long and short-term disability. A lot of folks offer this to their employees. It's you can use short-term disability for maternity leave. You can use it for anything. Somebody gets hurt and they have to be out of work for several weeks, or maybe they have an illness that they just need to be out of work for a while. It's a nice way for them to still gather a paycheck without having to worry about going into their job. So a lot of employers like to provide that. There has been a massive shift in the ancillary market from 2023. More employees now are demanding more coverage. It used to be that, if you were at a small employer, you got medical coverage, maybe dental or vision. And then in the last couple of years, we've seen the trend to add the life and the short-term disability. But there's been a huge, huge uptick in the market where employees are wanting more options. So now we have solutions for those. We have a voluntary life buy-up option. So the employer pays for a 10, a 25, or a $50,000 guaranteed issue life policy, and then the employees can buy up. And these usually have guaranteed issues about the same, usually about $50,000. But then after that, they can buy up to a certain amount. Generally, small employer, it's up to $300,000 or 5 times the annual salary. And they have to answer a couple of basic health questions. Most of the time, people are approved. It's very rare that I see them come back as denied. But there is that option. We have an accident plan. We work with several carriers that cover accident. So if somebody gets hurt on or off the job, they're covered. If they, their son or daughter or child breaks their arm playing baseball and they have to go to the emergency room, the accident plan, they'll file a claim. The accident plan will send them a check for however much they've decided that break is worth. Critical illness. So somebody has cancer, they file their claim, they'll get a check back to help cover those medical expenses. Hospital indemnity is great. If you have to be hospitalized for at least one night, you'll get a check in the mail back to help cover that hospital expense. So those are really nice lines of coverage. Accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity are almost always voluntary coverages, and they're very inexpensive. Employees really like them. They feel like that helps give them another safety net. Another really huge push in the market is pet insurance. During COVID, lots of people went and got pets. They got dogs, cats, just for some companionship. And so now they need a way to help pay for those vet expenses. So we do have pet insurance. We work with a carrier called Wishbone, and it's a discount pet plan. They follow our link, they fill out the information, and they pay for that on their own. It is the only ancillary coverage we have right now that is not payroll deducted. It's just something they can choose or not if they like, but it's a great plan.
Is that available for us to sell with a health and life license, or do you need a P&C license to sell that?
Nope, you have all of these are health license.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a good question though, because a lot of pet insurances require you to have P&C. Ours does not, and you can sell it to individuals and groups. So there isn't a group app. It's just a link. It's a Stonehill link. If you're interested in that, I'll send it to you, and anybody can sign up for it. Legal and identity theft protection, we do offer that. It is on a group chassis. A lot of employers have decided that they would like to offer that as employer paid, but you can do it as voluntary, and it's fantastic. If you have any kind of identity problem, any identity theft problems, maybe you get a speeding ticket that you need some help to negotiate, they've got lots of people on staff to help you kind of navigate that situation if you need it. FSA and dependent care FSA. If you are enrolled, if an employee is enrolled on a medical plan that is not HSA eligible, then they can sign up for an FSA if your group is offering them. We work with a lot of carriers. What you do is in January, there's an amount that you can put aside that's payroll deducted. It all goes onto a card, and you can use it throughout the year for your medical expenses or prescription drug coverage. There's a whole list of things from the pharmacy that you can get, but you can use your FSA to pay for it pre-tax. There's dependent care FSA, which you can use to pay for daycare services for children while you're at work. So it's a nice way to shelter that from your wages pre-tax. And then, of course, EAP, we talked about that a little earlier. That's your employee assistance program, and that's completely voluntary, or your employer can offer it if they want to, so that your employees can seek any kind of therapy services that they might need. Here at Stonehill, we offer electronic onboarding, which is huge for a lot of agents, right? So they can go out, they can get the group applications, do kind of an open enrollment meeting, talk to the employees, and then the employees can log into the system and check. They can make their own elections and see how much their benefits are going to cost them per paycheck. So it's a nice way for everybody to have their information in one space. They know exactly what they're buying. They can see we put links to the networks on there, their benefit summaries, it's all on there. Stonehill works with you as the agent and your HR specialist. We help you gather all the information we need to build the portals. We build them for you. We manage your service. I know that most of you know Stephanie here at Stonehill. She helps manage all the service options, whether it comes in paper form or whether it comes in through Employee Navigator. And then we train you to use the software, you and the HR person. We also have what's called the Employee Navigator University. We set it up so that you can attend that at any time. It's a huge database. It's full of how-to videos. There's weekly seminars that you can join. It's a really great benefit. All of this is for $1 per employee per month. And that's billed to you from our Stonehill commissions team monthly. So if you're interested in Navigator, we can do a different training on Navigator. But just so you know, it is available for electronic onboarding. A lot of people really are asking for that. So how to sell a group, right? So we've talked about what the options are, right? We have traditional options, we have partially self-funded options, fully self-funded options, we have ancillary options, and that's a lot, right? So how can we help you to sell? So we have lots of things we can do. So the first thing is that you have to hold a proper insurance license. So you do need to have your health license, health and life if you have both, but at least health. We need a census, and you can call us. We'll help you sell the group. Or if you're like, I'm really busy, this is Medicare time of year, I have this group and I just need help, you can refer it to us and we'll help you. There is a link right here for your Stonehill referrals. You can click on the link. It will come to myself or to David. You'll fill out those questions and we'll call you. And when we call you, we just need to know some basic information. We need to know the client's location and their contact information. If they have any specific needs or wants. And if you have a census available, fantastic. If not, we'll reach out to that employer contact. We would like you to make an introduction and just say that this is so-and-so from Stonehill. They're part of my back office support and they'll take care of you. If you want to be involved, that's fantastic. If you don't, that's okay too. What we can do is we'll do as much or as little as you like. If you want us to take the case for you, we will call the group. We'll do all the shop. We will prepare all the quotes, guide them through the services that are available, and help get them enrolled in a policy. If we help you do that, we'll split the commissions with you depending on how much work that you are involved in with the group. Somebody had a question.
Amy, I was wondering if you guys have marketing materials prepared for this.
What type of marketing materials?
Well, if you're reaching out to a company, whether that's large or small, and you want to let them know about some of these options, you're kind of an introductory letter to say, this is who we are, this is what we can help you with.
Okay. I don't have one of those. I can touch base with Janine. I know a lot of you know her. She is our agent liaison, and she's fantastic. So I'll reach out to Janine and see what she has on file. If not, we can see about making something for you if you need it.
And Jean, Medicare can help you too. So just reach out and we can help you with that as well.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. And then, of course, just like everything else with Stonehill, if you decide that you want to be the sole broker and you're going to take care of the enrollment meetings, we're there to back you up, and you will get 100% of the commission. So we do have both options. It's entirely up to you. And then the last slide here, and I'll send it out to everybody. This is just our department contacts. So David Oberly is our health manager. He's the manager of both group and individual. Myself, I am your group benefits specialist. If you have any questions at all, reach out to me, or you can always email me, and I'll help you with any questions you might have. Stephanie Jensen, she's our group service specialist. She helps with anything service related. You need to make a change, you need to terminate an employee, you have a renewal coming up, she's your person. If you have group quote requests or a new group submission, it goes to group@stonehill.net, and either myself or David will help you. Group service renewal requests, that goes to service@stonehill.net, and that again goes to Stephanie, and she'll be able to help you. Individual health questions. Savannah is your individual health specialist. She can help you with individual medical, dental, vision, and there is a health referral or quote request on our website, and I've included that for you at the individual, and it's all things individual, so you can contact her that way. I know this is a lot of information fast, so what kind of questions do you have for me?
Amy, I have a quick question. Earlier you said that an employee could buy accident insurance if they were injured on the job. Would that be in addition to workman's comp, or?
Yes. So workers' comp will cover you, and then you'll get additional money, correct? But if you are in an accident, the accident insurance, there's a whole list of things. So like if you break a bone, like you break your wrist, they'll send you a check for like $200. So it doesn't continue to pay like how a workers' comp issue would do. So this is in addition to that. And it works on or off the job. So if you're out hiking or skiing or whatever, you have coverage if you're outside work.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Amy, I know this has been changed a few times over the years, and so I just want to make sure, pardon me, I want to make sure that I'm current on, what's happening right now with the eligibility for a premium subsidy for an individual health plan. An individual cannot be eligible for group health coverage for themselves personally and get a subsidy. However, their spouse and dependents could get the subsidy still, right?
So that's a good question for Stephanie, because I
Okay.
don't usually handle individual coverage. But I do know that if you're offered a group plan, unless you can show that the group plan is
it's too expensive.
it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to
Yeah.
think of how to put that. If it's too expensive, then you can still qualify for a subsidy. There is a whole like algorithm for that.
Mhm.
I think you can do that on Health Sherpa, and I apologize if I'm giving you bad information because I'm not as fluent in individual health as I am in group.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Something to note though, this I get this question a lot, is does the employer have to contribute to a group medical plan? And they do. They're required, no matter if it's a small employer or large employer, to contribute at minimum 50% of the employee cost per month. That's the minimum on the lowest plan offered. So if they're offering a gold, a silver, and a bronze plan, at minimum, they have to pay 50% of the employee cost of the bronze. Now, a lot of employers pay more than that, or they pay based off of a higher plan, and that's okay. You can always pay more. You just cannot pay less.
When you talk about gold, silver, and bronze, are these the same plans that are offered through the ACA, or are these a different group of plans?
So the ACA is on gold, silver, and bronze. The some of the funded plans will use the same wording, but it just has to be off of the highest deductible. I know it says the lowest plan offer, but it's the highest deductible. So if you're offering a 8,000 HSA and a $1,000 copay, the contribution has to be based off of that 8,000 plan, the higher plan.
But to look at those plans, is it the same plans that are in the ACA materials, or are these different from the ACA plans?
No, the ACA plans are the gold, silver, bronze. If you want to look at the alternate funded plans, those are different. We have to medically underwrite them. There isn't a way for you to just look at those plans. They're done based off of each group.
But the benefits on the individual health policies are different than the benefits on the group sponsored policies,
Yes.
despite whether it's bronze, silver, or gold.
Yes, they're different.
Okay.
And then I have this that's going to come out later also. I just kind of want to go through this with you guys really quick, if that's okay. Doug, do we have time for that?
We do.
Okay. I'm just going to make this bigger so you can see. So this is our Stonehill guide for group benefits. It's kind of lengthy and it's a read, but it's here for your resources. So I added our contact information. And then I've listed all of the medical carriers that we work with here across the top, the funding type that they use, whether they're a fully insured product like an ACA product, or whether a level funded or reference-based pricing. And then frequently asked questions about those providers, like what's the max number of plans that you can offer? What's the minimum number that have to be enrolled? Are 1099s included? So I've tried to kind of break that down for you into the most commonly asked questions for each carrier, like their participation requirements. And then I've also included the provider search links at the bottom. So I've done this for medical, and it's done in blue. And then also we've done this for the ancillary. It's done in this purpley color. So it'll be all of your ancillary questions will be answered there for all the different types of ancillary coverage. And then down here towards the bottom, we have our network maps. I did these just for the ACA plans because your carriers that are medically underwritten, they can use several different networks throughout the country. So these are for your select health regions and UHC. So these are the 3 that we use, most commonly used in Utah for small employer. I've listed out each hospital by county and then marked what plans are in network. So if they have an X, they're an in-network provider for that hospital. So hopefully that helps with sales so that you can, go out with some knowledge to your clients about what's important for them. So if they are in, I don't know, Garfield County, and they want to know if Garfield Memorial Hospital is in network, it is in network with both networks of Select Health, and it's in network for the participating in value care with Regents, but it's not for Focal Point, and it is for the Blue Options Network. So that way they know what network to enroll in, and also like it's a network for UHC. So hopefully that helps with those kinds of questions. So every hospital is listed. And then down here, we do get a lot of questions about HRAs. Stonehill does not sell HRA policies, but we do partner with BenX. BenX is fantastic. We have special Stonehill pricing with them. They can help with HRAs, ICRAs, COBRA questions, FSAs, any of your cafeteria type of products. So they're fantastic. I did put in here some information about what types of HRAs are available. There's 6 different ones, and then what each of those things mean. And then down here is an HRA comparison chart. I won't go through all of it for you, but it'll just tell you kind of like what they are, what's expected, and what you can do with each of those depending on your class. So I'll send this over too as part of the slideshow, but then you guys have access to that, and you can kind of use it as your own reference if you have some additional questions.
Amy, I've never seen that, that
I know,
you
I just
went
made
through
it.
before. That is solid gold. That is incredible. That's amazing work that you've done there. That's fantastic. Thank you so very, very much. That's amazing.
You're welcome. I hope it's not too daunting. I was trying to keep it simple, but there's a lot of information. So hopefully you find that very useful.
Extremely valuable. Very, very good. Thank you. Well done.
You're welcome. What other questions do you guys have? Hopefully I haven't scared you off of group.
Well, Amy, thank you very much.